It's the most wonderful time of the year. Hey guys, it's Aaron back with another review for you. Today is day 3 of my Halloween month, and today we're going to be talking about the film Shaun of the Dead. So, I've got my notes. Let's dive right in. Okay, Shaun of the Dead. Directed by Edgar Wright, released in September 24th of 2004. Starring Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, Kate Ashfield, Lucy Davis, Dylan Moran, I don't know, Penelope Wilton, Bill Nye, and Martin Freeman. So the plot is that in London, an electronic salesman has no direction in life, basically, which is Simon Pegg, and then zombies attack. So it's a pretty simple story, which we love those here, especially if it's gets its point across the way that this film does. For those of you who don't know, it is a horror comedy, so it's definitely it relies on the horror aspect, but it definitely relies on the comedy more. So, and what would you expect with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost? Great stuff, great movie. But with that being said, there, I think that sometimes, like you've heard of things like Pride and Prejudice versus Zombies and Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. I'm not familiar with those completely, but I think they kind of stem from these films to begin with, like spoofs and whatnot. But the thing I like about Simon Pegg and Nick Frost's films like this, The World's End, and others, is that they do the kind of spoofy stuff or the very, kind of slapsticky, almost Three Stooges kind of stuff, but they do it well, and it's not to the point where it's like a scary movie film. You don't have to sit there and go like, okay. I don't know about you guys, but even in the best scary movie films and those types of movies, they're never completely like great because there's always moments where they're just like somebody's blowing snot everywhere, something stupid. You know what I'm talking about. And in these films, especially like Shaun of the Dead, since it's a scary movie, I think that they do it very smart. And I mean, I'm not saying there's no gross out humor in these films, but I think that they definitely rely on situational comedies a lot more, and I like that. I think they're funny. I think they're done well. They are acted well. You know what I mean? All the buttons are, all the lines are, or all the T's are crossed and I's are dotted, kind of thing. And I think that that's just speaks to the talent of Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. I know there's more people that they work with. Like I know that um, I think it's Dylan Moran is the guy that is in this film with the glasses, and I know that they worked with Martin Freeman before. And I think they work with Dylan Moran as well. They have this little. They're kind of like maybe the newer version of like Monty Python. I think maybe that's a little too much. I don't know. But it is nice to know and nice to say that, well, they understand the assignment, they get in there and do it, and they have fun with it, of course, but they don't, like I said, it's not like how you get in films like Scary Movie and whatnot, where there's always that moment, no matter what, no matter how good the film is, no matter how funny you think it is, there's always that moment of complete unnecessary. There's always just that, like in Meet the Spartans, spoilers, but in Meet the Spartans, when I think it's Ashley Tisdale has like the humpback, and then the fat guy from Borat, he licks it and then pops it and it busts open like a zit. Completely unnecessary. And I think it's easy to do films to make them like that, where it's like, okay, we'll just throw in this crap and who cares because it's a Shaun of the Dead film. But, Simon Pegg and Nick Frost really seem to understand comedy, and they put it in, these unconventional settings, but it works. And so I think that they are kind of what the scary movie guys go for. And I might be wrong. I might be oversimplifying the scary movie guys, but I know for a fact I'm speaking the truth about Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. Their stuff is top notch, and which is great because they take, and that's the thing too. You can tell that, especially in this film, they take the genres with respect. They know that they're making these for comedy fans, of course. I think is first and foremost in these types of films, but then horror films, horror fans. and specifically in this one, zombie films. So I think, in some aspects, I really think that this is one of the best zombie films out there because it does what it's supposed to do. Plus, it's funny. That's the best part about it. Um, they there is the uh, oh, it's the end of the world, apocalypse is happening, and there's the typical, okay, we got to get our stuff and we got to get our supplies and this, that, and the other, and it's hysterical the whole time, which is what I think takes it above and beyond, because it's not just a typical, not only not a typical zombie film, but not a typical spoof film. And like I said a second ago with the scary movies, those are easy traps to fall into, I think. And I think it's easy to just be lazy when it comes to doing films like this. And Simon Pegg and Nick Frost and the rest of the guys that work with him, they don't do that. Like, that's why I brought up Monty Python before. They know what they're doing, they know what they want to accomplish and how they want to accomplish it, and they just get it done, and it's a nice product at the end. And so, there's I wrote some funny stuff down. What is it? I don't know. I wrote it down, but I can't tell which ones I've already said and which ones I haven't. That's just how great I am at this. But no, like I said, I think that it's a very well done movie. Well, it's done very well. I'm sorry. I definitely think that there needs to be maybe more films like this. Not necessarily because I think that the genre is missing films as far as numbers. I think they're missing films as far as quantity or sorry, I just said what I didn't mean to say. Quality goes. And I think they could take a couple notes from, Simon Pegg and Nick Frost and the rest of these guys in this, because they know what they're doing. They get it. They understand the genre. They understand what we want, what we don't want, and they're British, but they speak to Americans too, which is awesome. And I didn't mean that to sound disparaging towards British people. It's just interesting how they can translate what audiences in general want. And Guy Ritchie comes to mind as somebody who I don't really find that funny. Actually, I find his films quite annoying. But he's a British guy, and I think that he has been kind of, the traditional, this is what British comedy, action, horror flicks, I don't know what you want to call his films, might be, the pinnacle of. But now I think that that Simon Pegg and Nick Frost get it. And I know there's more guys to it, but those are just the two that really come to mind because, they're the best friends, and they're, I think, at least behind most of the ideas initially. So, the acting was great in all of it. Everyone did a good job. Bill Nye, it's so funny seeing him as a normal person, because if you guys aren't aware of who Bill Nye is, not the science guy, but he is in the Pirates of the Caribbean films. He is the guy with the squid face. Why am I blanking on his name? Um, Anyway, I'll come back to it if I remember. For those of you that are Underworld fans, he is uh, Victor, I think is his name. I haven't seen this for a while, but he's like the lead vampire. He's very uh, animated, I guess is the best word, with his acting and how he does things. But he was just a normal guy in this. He was the stepdad, and he just acted like a normal guy. And it was really funny to see him just kind of like, oh, okay. Davy Jones in the Pirates films. That's who he is. Captain Davy Jones. Davy Jones Locker, that whole thing. I don't know why I blanked on that. But yeah, I definitely think it's worth watching. I definitely think it's especially around this time of year. That's why I'm reviewing it, obviously, in October. I had it recorded on Sci-Fi. I didn't see any upcoming airings, but if you can check it out, I foolishly, once again, I say this every time, and I think I jinxed myself last time by saying, oh, I'll write it down for the next one. And I didn't, of course. I don't know where else you can find it. I'm sorry, but feel free to check all the streaming services. But I know for a fact it was on Sci-Fi. If you have DirecTV, it is channel 244. That's how I found it. But anyway, overall, it's a great film. I'd give it a 9 out of a 10 because it does what like I said, I think all those scary movies, those types of films, Meet the Spartans, I think this is what they try to be, and they just fall short. And there's a place for those types of films if you do them this way, and I think that people need to appreciate them for what they are. And you know, I think this is great because they don't take themselves too seriously, like I said, but the comedy is top notch. And you know, what else can I say about it? I've been rambling enough. I'm sorry, guys. But yeah, like I said, 9 out of 10 for this one. Check it out, and Halloween month will continue with my next review. I'll see you then. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends, please.